I love movies. I love movie theaters. I love the cinematic experience of going to that dark room with a large popcorn, a large Coke, with some friends or by myself, and just allowing myself to get transported to a world, to a story, to the world of a filmmaker. Now, obviously, times have been changing, and amidst the rise of streaming, movie theaters have been trying to survive by offering more convenience, more comfort. But in doing so, I feel like they're losing the main reason to leave home in the first place, which is immersion. So let's look at the reality of the situation. Streaming has won. Streaming is more convenient, it's more comfortable, it's more accommodating. You have full control. Well, most people have full control of their household. You can pause it whenever you want. You could get up to go get some snacks when you want. You could have a conversation with someone, rewind things, you could fast forward things. Movie theaters cannot compete with that. Now, that being said, as we've been finding our footing in this new modern age with theaters and streaming coexisting, I've begun to notice a subtle evolution of the theatrical experience. Now, I'm someone, like I said, who loves movies, and I typically go like twice a week. I go very often. I have a lot of experiences, obviously. And it used to be, for pretty much most of my life, that every now and then you get a bad experience. I mean, it is what it is. People are people. You can't control the world. The world doesn't revolve around you. That's life. But in the last year or so, I feel like it's become a true gamble to go to the movie theater. Not because the movie might not be good, but because of people, because of the experience. I might not be able to truly experience the film correctly. And it's become more like a 50-50% chance that I might have a bad experience today. And that's terrible, obviously. I mean, we're paying premium price for a unique experience, or for something that should be a unique experience. Now, how did this happen? Well, as time has gone on, as I've already said, they tried to adapt to the times, but I feel like they adapted in the wrong way. They've become more accommodating, more tolerant, and now we have recliner seats, which isn't inherently wrong, but we have recliner seats to emulate being in your living room. People take their blankets now. People come in pajamas all the time. I see that very often. In many dine-in theaters, you can order food directly to your seat. Just trying to be convenient, trying to be accommodating. They're trying so hard to make the theatrical experience feel like a home experience. And that is just not a very smart move to me. In them trying to make the movie theaters feel more like home, they've removed the reason to leave home in the first place. So no wonder theaters are struggling to stay alive. Now, what is it that theaters actually offer? What is the true theatrical experience? Why do we go? Why do we pay all that money to go to the movie theater? Well, it's for the scale. It's for the immersion. It's for the darkness. It's for unparalleled sound, the quality of the picture. It's also the shared focus. I think there's a beauty in not having any control. The story just goes and you're just there. You have to be locked in. And I love this recent quote from James Cameron where he says this.
And people are trying to quantify what cinema, what it brings. And I think it boils down to one very simple thing. At home, you've got a remote and you're in control. In the cinema, you're not in control. It's just happening. And it's like that moment when the roller coaster leaves the platform. And it's like something's going to happen and I don't know what it is and I can't get off. And I think when we make a deal with ourselves to go into the cinema and have that rich experience, it automatically elevates our response.
And to me, that is how they compete successfully, by capitalizing on their value, this singular experience. And I don't fully blame people, because many people, their first reaction is people suck. People are so disrespectful. Kids are on their phones. Kids have iPads in the theater. People put their feet up. People are talking absurdly loud. There's just so many things that you could take issue with. But I don't see that fully as the person's fault. I see that as the theater's fault for making them feel that this was okay. This is kind of a funny example, but I view it much like a child and a parent. Like, a child's gonna push their boundaries as much as a parent allows them to. And I feel like in the last 5 or 6 years, that's what's been happening with movie theaters. People have been pushing the boundaries, and more people have become tolerant. And people don't want to get into a fight with someone and be like, hey, shut up, which I have experienced many times. And it's just not a good environment to be in, So I feel like movie theaters should capitalize on the fact that this is an experience. You are paying for something you could get nowhere else. You are not paying to go to a big living room. I could see from the perspective of many normal people Going to the movie theater now is very much like, what's the point? Like, I'm paying so much money, for expensive food to be in a situation where I have no control. And it's true. Why would you want to do that? I could just do that at home with my friends and family. And that's why movie theaters should offer something specific. They should offer something unique. And I think in doing this, in enforcing this, movie theaters will become a little bit more exclusive. Not necessarily like gatekeeping, not necessarily like it's more money, but more like only a specific type of person will go. Someone who truly cares. And I feel like that's a positive thing. And people who don't really care, you don't have to be a cinephile, you don't have to be a movie buff. But when you understand what is socially accepted, then they will begin to adapt as well. Just manners, people know in situations, how can I act? How should I act? What is acceptable? What isn't acceptable? And only truly disrespectful people used to act that way before. But now it seems, like I said, so it's so much more tolerant that now all sorts of people are just kind of acting out. And many kids, the younger generation, they're growing up not understanding how a theater should be treated. And I feel like that's a tragedy. Now, what should they do? I'm reluctant to say my thoughts on what they should do because I'm not an expert, I'm not a professional, I'm not an analyst with consumer behavior. Like, I don't know what's too far, But something that I do remember that the ArcLight Cinemas used to do, which I went to 2 of their screenings. I saw Whiplash there, and I saw Blade Runner 2049 there. And I just remembered feeling so much more serious, so much more important. And I don't think there's anything wrong with seriousness. I don't think there's anything wrong with paying money to go experience something and to be respectful, to treat it with seriousness. And something that they would do is that a person will come to the front of the screen, a member of the theater staff, and they would tell you information about the film. You're watching this film, directed by this person, it's this long, it stars these people. They would also say, thank you for coming to our show. Basically, they would tell you the same information that they tell you at the beginning of every single showing, but it's always like an animation, or it's always some guy's voice. Don't be on your phones, be respectful, blah, blah, blah. Here's Deadpool telling you, here's the characters from Zootopia telling you. All these studios pay extra money so that their characters can articulate this information to you. And I feel like, yes, it's funny, but it takes away the seriousness. It no longer feels like I need to actually listen to this. Like, these rules are not enforced, so why should I listen? And I get it, it is what it is. People feel that way because it's not enforced, because it's not that serious. And something else that they could possibly do, which I don't know, maybe this is a very bad, I'm sure everything I'm saying is a bad business model, but it is what it is. I'm not a businessman, I'm an art lover. So I'm approaching this from the perspective of someone who loves the art and prioritizes the art. But something they could even do is, like in the old days, even before my time, where they had an usher, they had someone there who will speak to you, will escort you, will whisper to you like, sir, can you keep it down? Ma'am, can you do, like something to regulate the room. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But those are my thoughts. I really hope I did not come off as ranting. I did not want to come off as ranting because this isn't necessarily a rant on people. Like I said, I think this is theaters adapting in the wrong way. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on my thoughts. Let me know your proposition. What do you think? And thanks for watching.